G'day, listeners. My name's Jordan Spencer, and I'm wanting to welcome you to Barkarati, the Sailing Podcast. It's that time of the week where we get to hang out with some cool sailors, but for us to do it, we have to join with two of my idiot mates. Welcome to the show, Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, Exalted One.
It's the unknown that I love about this show.
Where are you going with that, bud?
Well, 2 weeks ago, I was actually joking that I was applying for a job at a brewery.
Yeah.
And apparently I've got one with you guys.
That's right. We're near. Let's bring the other guy in.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Mr. Nick Bice.
Sharpie Nationals are cancelled, man.
Oh. There goes all our beer sales.
Yeah, bloody hell. We're going to have to back off the beer orders, I think.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
But
Do the whole.
there'll be a plan. Don't worry about that. But quickly before we start, quick shout out to Michael Martin from Australian Sailing, who gave a heavy reprimand to the cheeky Glenn Stanaway for wearing a Barkarati T-shirt doing official Australian sailing business. But thumbs up to Glenn. Absolute cracker. Well done. It was worth the express post to get it down to Tassie. And for Michael, he'll be doing it with a Barkarati Sailor's Lager in his hand next time, so get prepared.
That's it.
But Mike, thanks for sharing our last episode with Bundy on the Australian Sailing Olympic Team Facebook page. It all helps.
Yep. Well, I suspect he might be sharing this episode as well. I have a suspicion this one's going to run fairly loose and wide. I don't know. I got a sense. Shall I bring in our guests?
Do it.
Okay. We're going today with our silver medalists in the Nacra 17s, Jason Waterhouse and Lisa Darmanin. And we're just going to have as much fun as possible. Team, welcome to the show.
Awesome. G'day, fellas. How are you all?
Pretty excited to be here. I've heard a lot about you guys, and I'm expecting a lot from this podcast.
Right.
Don't do that.
Didn't you just say demanding, Jordan?
Well, I think she expects this.
Now you know what I have to deal with.
Exactly.
Welcome.
This is why we we wanted to go a team together just to see what comes out, and we hope we don't break you two up, but we're going to go as hard as we can to make it fun. So my opening question to you, Jace, Lisa. This is to Jason.
Hands on the button.
This is to Jason, actually. When I was chatting to you guys the other day, Lisa said that she's the stronger member of the team out of the two of you. And then in a previous interview, Jason, you've said she's the smarter member of the team. So, Jason, what do you actually do?
Yeah, I think after we won our silver medal in Rio, we were doing a live air chat to Channel 7. I sort of asked about the roles on board. I sort of described it like Lisa's the mule and I'm the Sherpa with the stick whipping her along. So she's the strong one that gets the boat around the track, and I'm just the bloke behind it just going, yeah, we'll go this way then.
Lisa?
Yeah, that's about it.
The greatest asset of Jason is his extremely long limbs. So he really comes in handy in sailing because his arm span, he's like a monkey. His arm span's bigger than his body. So good for occasionally passing me ropes. And yeah, that's about it. But we do go the right direction sometimes too. So that's always handy.
Bravo, Sherpa.
Someone's got to do it.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, we should talk on that a little bit anyway, because, you know, with the 17, it sort of was sparked around the conversation of the perfect role. The person up front should be the strong person, and then the person at the back should be the smaller person. And it really hasn't played out that way. But, you know, but that's where you alleged, Lisa, that you were the stronger member of the crew anyway. So
a lot tougher too. You know, I take those big blows around the front all the time, over and over again, no complaints, and just get the job done. So it gets a little tough up the front, but Jason's good for a few words of encouragement when I've got a 6-foot bloke hoisting a kite behind me.
Any of those words sort of non-printable? Is that the sort of words? Go you.
No, it's all pretty calm and collected, and if words are said, I know that I really need to hustle.
Yeah, right. Do you guys actually like the boat in its current format, the Nacra 17? Because to me it looks dangerous from the outside. Like, it looks crazy.
Yeah, it's hard work. The original Nacra 17 for the Rio quad was really cool, like a lot of fun, really agile, and it was C-foil, so you kind of gain a bit of that foiling sensation, and really close racing. And they've sort of changed it to this foiling boat, which is also another great challenge, but the boat's just not really designed all that well for it. So I'm still enjoying. Like, I think I can speak for Lisa as well. We both love it, foiling, going faster, and now that the fleet's getting better at foiling, the racing's starting to get closer again, which is really actually good for Lisa and I. But yeah, no, it's a new challenge. The boat's not great for it. It's not the fastest foiling boat in the world, but as long as I can get to the KFC mark of Sydney Harbour before Slinger's on his moth, then I'm pretty happy.
That's everyone's goal, yeah.
It's super cool. Like, I guess we should talk about the family connection. So you guys are related. I guess, Jace, your dad is Rod, and Rod's sister is Sally, which is your mum, Lisa. That's correct? So you're cousins.
That is correct.
Right. And you both grew up on the Hobie Cat world, yeah? I'm guessing with the names you've got. So that you're really pretty much entrenched in the Hobie Cat world. Is that where you guys both started, or?
Well, I started in the Hobie sailing with my mum and dad when I was really young, and then Lisa and I sort of introduction was at the same time into dinghy sailing on the Manly Juniors at Manly 16-foot Skiff Club, and that's when we weren't sailing together at that point. We're both sailing with our siblings. I was sailing with my sister, and Lisa was hating life sailing with her brother, trying to abandon ship in Sydney Harbour. But that's sort of where we both started sailing, and eventually when our brothers and sisters aged out, it sort of made sense to pair together in the Hobie and sort of go for that youth ward spot back in 08.
Yeah.
Was it a bit of a set play, you think, from your parents to get you together and kind of breed you up? I'm not sure if you listened to the podcast with Lily, how the Chinese Olympic team was put together, but did your parents put something similar to that, similar like that together for the two of you?
Well, I don't know if Rod had a plan all along, but I do remember the phone call where he rang my mum asking if I'd sail with Jace. And I was sitting in the car and it was on speaker. And Rod calls and he goes, "How old's Lisa?" Same age as Jason. "How much does she weigh?" "Perfect. Does she want to go to the youth worlds with Jace?" So it wasn't about my sailing ability at all. It was purely that I was under 18 and weighed around 50 kilos. So I've come a long way from that. Now I add a little bit more value to the team, but I knew what I was in for from day one.
Yeah. Here.
And just to be clear, Lisa, when she says we're the same age, that's incorrect. She's actually older than me, and I'm the younger, better looking one. So just to put that on record. Yeah. So
2.5 months, but that's why I'm the mature one
yesterday.
of the team.
Was it your birthday yesterday? Yesterday.
It was my birthday yesterday.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh, yeah, I actually had that down. Happy birthday, Lisa. We've got some presents lined up for you.
Yeah, absolutely. The marketing, the merchandise pack will be in the post, so get prepared.
And
maybe I can annoy Michael Martin a little bit too.
A list of single blokes
absolutely.
as well. Hey, yeah, at least I guess your old man, he's Maltese. He's from Malta.
Yes, that's where the Darmanin comes from.
Yeah. So we're going to talk because the Middle Sea race is on, I think, still.
I love Malta.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. Good people. So that makes you half Maltese and half Aussie. Do you get 50% off on Maltesers?
I was hoping you weren't going to say that.
That's
mate, I wish, but you have to be a full bred to get the full discount.
Oh, okay. Well
Good
played.
comeback.
Well played. All right. Let's get a bit serious. It's been a tough for you guys to get the spots for the Olympics because you went in 16 and you've got the spot for Japan. At no time was it easy. Like, you had to get past some of the most accomplished sailors in the world to get your spots, yeah? That's probably fair. How did you do that? Like, you guys have done a mighty job.
Yeah, it's been, you couldn't really ask for a worse selection competitors to go against in the last 8 years, but in terms of trying to get a spot, but great human beings. But I guess to answer your question, our approach has always just been that every day we're striving to win a gold medal, and we try not to focus too much on who we have to beat or how to get the spot. We just try to be the best we can, and we know that is a gold medal potential level. A lot of people can get caught up in the emotion of, in training squads and whatnot, of just trying to beat the boat next year. But I think you just have to step back and realize that you're working towards a similar goal, and then the best boat will get that spot. And also we're really humbled to be representing Australia. Like, if even though we managed to get the spot, now it's our job to do them proud and do their service justice and go, get the result for them. So it's been hard work these last few years, but we're really honoured.
So maybe one for you, Lisa. We've asked a few of the other Olympians that have come on. Where's this leave you in a mindset point of view with the delay that's just occurred?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. At first, it was a big shock and a disappointment because we were feeling super ready to go, and it is really hard because we could be on a tropical island now kite surfing, not have to train on the Nacra, but instead we've got another hard year of work ahead of us. So it's a double-edged sword. We have another year to improve and do all these things that we wanted to do and test and take to the Olympics with us. But so does everyone else. So a few people that were maybe not quite there, ready for a medal, they're going to be extra players in the game come 2021. And the uncertainty about the whole thing, not being able to leave the country, is a little bit of a challenge in preparation. But luckily, we got awesome sailing locations here in Australia.
Well, you got a pretty cool boat as well. Just thank God you're not sailing lasers.
Tell me about it.
Another year of going upwind at 4 knots.
I feel sorry for those poor bastards, honestly. Couldn't think of anything worse. I mean, Matt Belcher doesn't even hike for a reason. That's Will. He's got a tall, skinny crew, so he doesn't have to do that. But you got poor Werney and Mara, who are still slogging away up at Ember, and love trapezing boats.
Working hard to not go very far at all.
Oh, yeah, agony.
Yeah. So I just had a thought there, Lisa. You were just talking about, how we've got a year to wait, and obviously there's not much competition going on in terms of international stuff. And you guys are on the water testing and doing stuff. What is it, do you think, that the whole world is going to be looking at, but doing it on their own rather than competing against each other? It's going to be really interesting in a year's time when everyone comes back together, right?
Yeah, I guess these boats are a handful downwind in the waves, which is what we expect in Japan. So I think there's going to be a lot of boat handling. That's the most things that you can do by yourself. But who knows? Every time you have a couple of months away from the rest of the world, you turn up and everyone's doing different things. So you just have to hope that you're going in the right direction. And we've got a pretty good coach. He's not too bad. Has a few good opinions, and we just got to hope we're going the right way. And we think we're making gains, and you just got to back yourself.
Yeah, fair cool.
Hey, well, let's sort of because one of the goals of the podcast is to get people into the sport. I wanted to try and, while we're talking coaches, let's go right back. I wanted to bring in a discussion around Tracks Gordon, and I guess that program that Tony Walls put together. Do you want to just explain how much that helped and what the relationship with the coaches has been over the years? It's probably for Jace, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good one. I guess I started working with Tracks when I was 14 or 15 years old, and that's probably one for your listeners is one of the biggest things my parents did for me is they got me into sailing, but then finding me a good coach so that you weren't having to deal with your mum or your dad all the time was really important to sort of pass the torch over, or the keys, so to speak, or whatever it is. And he's just really passionate about youth sailing. Youth participation in particular, not also excellence as well as participation. And Tony Walls, who runs Objective, he was really allowed that to happen through his support to get the Future Champions program off the ground and give Tracks the tools and the support to create really good young athletes and good training environment, fun training environment, and then also the Youth America's Cup, which, I mean, that in itself, that launched, you think who was on that boat, and that really launched people like Luke Parkinson, Tom Burton, Ted Hackney at Oracle, James Wispowski, world match racing champion, and myself. So I feel really fortunate to be, and he's still a great mate. I saw him last week and he's still chipping away, coaching young fellas and girls on Pittwater. So yeah, great bloke, great mate.
That's very cool. What do you reckon makes a good coach, you guys? Like you've got, went through tracks. You had Andy Landenberger. You got Bundy now, who's just threw you on the bus last week, Lisa. Talk about the world of coaching, like from a youngster, if you're coming through, the coaching can be pretty critical.
Yeah, I guess it's a tough gig. I think Trax is perfect for the youth level. He's certainly good at helping young people mature quicker than they probably would. There's this big sense of professionalism and in our training, and perfect practice makes perfect. So he sort of pushed us in the right direction and made sure that our focus was really there, which there's a lot of distractions when you're 16 to 20 years old. So he was a really good youth coach. And then with Landy and Bundy, obviously they've been there, they've been to the games, but I think for us it was about having a really nice environment, all getting along really well, which we do, and also having a shared desire for the goal, because if your coach has a different idea about just turning up versus trying to win a gold medal, I think it's very different. So it's there's been a lot of silver and bronzes in the multi-hull for Australia, so I think everyone has the same idea that we don't want to get another one of them. So all working towards the same goal and being really open and collaborative has been perfect for us.
That definitely is a point of discussion, I reckon. Because Bundy had the 2 silvers, you guys got a silver. How good is a gold going to be in Japan?
Can't wait. We're going to Japan and mine for gold. That's it. Period.
Oh well, let's go into some of the mindset then while you threw it out there, Jace. Is obviously Lisa's doing an amazing job when the Sail GP on is a presenter. But you're actually out on the water sailing. So you're sitting there, you're doing tactics, I think, on the Sail GP in Team Oz. And you got, you were slingers, and then you got Nath on the other boat. I'm just intrigued as to what you pick up off those boats, And then, of course, you did the America's Cup on Team Japan. So you were sailing with Dean Barker back in those days, and our good mate Fuku, the guy with the best name in sailing. I'm just intrigued how that sort of rolls with the Sail GP, that whole involvement for both of you, actually.
Yeah, just really fortunate to, almost be at the right place at the right time. It was pretty gutting when the multi-hull was kicked out of the Olympics back in 2007, I think it was, and not really having a pathway, and all of a sudden it went all fast multi-hull, fast cats, and the boats, working with all these people as well, like the Tom Slingsby, Kyles, Kinleys, and then at Team Japan, like Jero, Dean Barker, Chris Draper. I've just been really fortunate to be surrounded by amazing sailors and just learn and absorb as much as I can. And the boats, I really love the racing, just being a fast, intense, tough boat handling, pushing the limits is sort of my favorite thing. I like being scared. It gets me going. And
cool.
And then on the Sail GP, like it's my role is just a flight control. I did tactics for the first event while the flight control system wasn't too crash hot. But now just trying to fly the boat around and hitting like that Cows event, I still wake up thinking how cool that was, like hitting 50 knots across the finish line. And just, learning lots. And it's been a great opportunity for Lisa and I to, do things out of Olympic sailing, which is what a lot of young sailors strive to do. So looking forward to the future ahead.
Hey, Jace, you having listened to a few episodes now, you probably know I'm pretty keen to lift the banter game a little bit within the sailing sites. Now, first of all, you've got a pretty good crew there on the Sail GP team.
Except for Langford.
Who's the king of the banter on the boat, first of all?
Kyle Langford. That bloke is just the funniest bloke alive. But he's really you can't show a chink in your chain. He just goes for you. So once he breaks someone, it's like his enjoyment. He gets off on it and he just keeps going until that person's either dead or just like is about to hit him over the head with a baseball bat or something. So
like a staffy with lockjaw.
Yeah. No, he's such a good guy and such a talented sailor and rich as all hell. But yeah, loving watching the videos on this moth, just, you know, absolutely having one really gives me a lot of joy. But I miss sailing with him and those guys, and I'm looking forward to the banter ahead.
Yeah, and how about bringing the likes of Ainsley in this year? Well, he's obviously, it would have been the build-up for for Sydney, and then afterwards everyone would have been pretty excited. And I think we got through to him that the real banter needs to be back. Was there anything going on in Sydney we didn't hear about?
Yeah, I mean, excuse me. There's a lot that's said on the boat. I mean, particularly about Nathan and the Japanese team. You know, we give them heaps of curry on board, you know, because we can. But then really, we're all really great mates. But it's funny how it gets a little personal when you're all around your mates and you're hiking each other up and amping each other up. But then once you get to the bar and have a few beers, it's all back to normal. But that shark in the water thing was embarrassing. I'm glad you addressed it. I mean, we've got to get serious. It should have been like, don't slide into me, Ben, on the start line like you did in Japan.
Yeah,
the Japanese team was saying, watch the ride height, Ben. So, yeah.
That's a good one. So, Lisa, over to you. It's now your role moving forward. If you need to ensure that all these guys keep the banter up on the Sail GP circuit.
Yeah, it's really hard. Like, I try break Slingers and Ben in the media, but they just give me the same lines over and over again. So I think what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to bug the containers, and that's where we'll get the real juice.
That's dangerous. That is dangerous.
I'll have to talk to Russell about it. I'm sure he'll be all in.
There is actually a whole bunch of footage from the boatyard office container where we've got a few gold medalists on tape saying things that we could never release those videos, boss. I think you'll remember.
Oh, mate, I've had way too many beers since then. I don't remember anything like that.
Anyway, yeah, but what about the $1 million? What happened to that?
I've blown it all. It's all gone. Yeah. Yeah, no, I actually just bought a house on the northern beaches, God's country, as commonly known. So that's kind of been my project while I'm not sailing and stuck here, is trying to work a bit around the house and keep the missus happy so she doesn't leave me because I'm gone pretty much all the bloody year. So, I've got a wedding to pay for as well. So, right, and she's got big plans. So,
no, keep it cheap, mate. Keep the wedding cheap. Just spend the money on the grog. That's the trick.
And
the nose beers.
So, Lisa, have you got any projects similar to that going on?
Well, I didn't win $1 million, so I might just have to marry rich, and then I can have a house and a wedding.
Have you got any prospects, Lisa, considering what Bundy said last week?
Look, I'm too busy dragging Bundy and Jason around the world trying to win a gold medal. When do I have time to find a husband? I don't know.
Have you got that list there, Jay?
Yeah, I have. We'll revisit that list. I mean, what are your criteria? What is your criteria? Like, what sort of fella do you want?
Rich.
Yeah, that's basically it. Look, I haven't really thought about it. I'm too busy focusing on trying to win a gold medal. But, just a nice bloke with a fancy house and a good boat wouldn't be too bad. But yeah, maybe a little funny, but can take a bit of banter and, just have a good time.
I mean, does he have to be tall or short?
Depends how much money's in the bank.
It's got to be on the northern beaches as well.
That's it.
Yeah, true. I'm not importing anybody from overseas.
Okay. No, we don't want visa issues trying to get people over the Spit Bridge and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
good Northern Beaches family, I reckon.
That's fair enough. The other one is, if the fella is a ginger, does that put his value up or down?
Look, I don't know. We're just got to.
Lisa said
happens.
he needs to be funny.
Yeah. Well, I'm not trying to. I'm not
funny
applying.
No,
okay.
but those two things don't really go together that well.
Yeah, you got a problem there. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. All right, so
Anyway,
Funny.
All right.
we've got a list, Lisa. One thing we forgot to check was their wealth, so I apologise.
okay, well, make sure you add that in, and I expect a good detailed report after you shortlist them all. And look, if I can't find a husband through bar karate, I've just got no hope.
No, well, we were inundated. Once Bundy said that, honestly, at Cheers at Bar Karate, our email address, inundated.
Okay.
Yeah.
We need current bank statements too, please.
Yeah.
within 3 months.
Last recent tax return. No.
Last tax return, yeah.
Oh, dear. That is quite funny. Hey, what about on the old Nacra, while we're talking about those things, like we've seen some pretty good footage of wipeouts. Any crackers for you guys? Like anything that's just where you've just gone, holy dooly, or is it you've done it worse elsewhere?
Well,
No.
me and
go,
the
Lise.
pole are very well acquainted,
yep.
spinnaker pole. Like, I've broken a few. I tend to say hello quite often, but, we haven't had any majors. We've hit a few things and you stop pretty quick on a Nacra, but none that you'd really write home about. It's just every day at the office for us.
Obviously the iconic one we saw about a year ago now with the US sailors, they're pretty much slingshotted to the moon. Nothing like that.
Actually, I have had that happen once, but it was not with Jason. It was with Bundy. Sailing with Bundy. Sailing along, having a great time. He decides to go for a speed record. Anyway, bow goes down, I go flying forward. I look back and 30 metres in the air, still on trapeze, is Bundy.
Wow.
And he's come flying towards me and he's just looking for a soft spot to land and decides that I would be the perfect spot to land, just whacks right into me, bruises everywhere. Couldn't stop laughing.
You can't trust that bloke on foiling boats. I mean, did you guys see him getting rolled by Caroline the other day?
Absolutely.
I mean, it wasn't a slow roll. It was just she went straight past him like it's standing still. He needs a lesson. Let's take him back to tackers, eh?
He actually tried to claim that he'd retuned her boat for her. Is what he's actually said.
Oh my God!
He stripped it and redid it completely.
Get out the violin. Gosh, what else did he do? I mean, when we're home and we're not training, I mean, he hasn't got a whole lot to do besides sit on the couch and sink beers. So
apparently, he stripped Caroline's boat and redid it for her.
Yeah, drink beers. Hey, Lisa, what's the story with this Ben Lexon scholarship you got? I'm interested by that.
So that was back in the day when I was a university student. So I loved learning and went to university and finished a degree. And luckily the sports scholarship at UNSW is the Ben Lexon scholarship. So they basically helped me not attend uni at all and go sailing instead, and gave me a little bit of money to buy my Nacra. And, that really helped me be able to do both. So it just so happens that it's Ben Lexon, so it was a good fit.
And what was your degree actually?
So I did a Bachelor of Commerce and Liberal Studies. Hasn't come in super handy yet. But, it's good to tick that box. But I don't know if you know, but Jason went to uni for one semester. He's very proud of it, that he attended for, just a little bit. But, I managed to get the piece of paper by the end of it.
I was actually wondering if Jason lasts a degree. I don't look at you, Jason, and think, that guy's just going to power through a degree. No criticism intended in that whatsoever.
Oh really? What were you actually looking to study?
He looks like a more hands-on bloke.
I was actually doing calculus and found it too easy. So I thought I let Jordan take it on. So,
because you've got to be dumb and smart at the same time to do that.
Yeah, no, there's calculators these days, so I don't need to do that sort of stuff, that sort of shit. So I was studying economics at uni for a year and a bit, and then I got an opportunity to go do a European tour, and the F18 fully sponsored by Hobie Cap, which was really awesome. But I couldn't defer, unfortunately, but I actually really enjoyed it a lot. You're not wrong. I'm definitely not made for the classroom, and I'm actually pretty happy at how it all worked out. So
you just wanted to be on the Wolf of Wall Street, didn't you, Jace?
Yeah, I wanted to be a stockbroker. That was the plan. So, it was a good change. I'm really happy with how things are going. So we'll see how we go in 20 years' time. But buy Flight Centre shares is what I learned out of that whole thing.
Yeah, cool.
Not right now, mate. Just a tip. Beer shares are probably the way to go at the moment. Everyone's stuck at home drinking.
Yeah, exactly. They're cheap now.
Yeah, righto. So actually, what happens? Like, have you got time when you're sort of training so much for the Olympics and you're putting so much work in and you're travelling so much? Do you really have time for anything else? Like, you're a newly engaged bloke, Jace. It must be hard to fit everything in with the commitment you guys have got, I assume.
Yeah, no, there's definitely no time. Like Lisa and I we treat our Olympic campaign like a job, like as if we're working in the office. So we're Monday to Friday, usually sailing 4 days of those weeks and the other doing meetings and whatnot or boat work. And then, like you said, we travel, and between the SAR GP and back when I was growing up, it was Extreme 40s before that, GCs before that, then the America's Cup before that or whatever. So no, there's been no time, and it's tough, for the family and the missus, but she's a trooper. She travels with us a bit now, and she's a high school teacher, so she gets school holidays, which is really lucky. So there's if you want a gold medal, there's nothing, you can't do anything else. There's no chance. You've got to commit yourself 100%. I think Lisa would agree.
So maybe just when you rattled off all those different boats and stuff that you had the chance to sail, what was the actual transition from the day-to-day club sailor? Was it the Youth Worlds, or was it prior to that you knew you were going to spend the rest of your life on the water?
It was. We're doing the Youth Worlds. I was really lucky. I managed to do 4 of them. I think Lisa and I just won the Brazil Youth Worlds in 2009, and our HSC was just afterwards. And I think my parents figured out that I wasn't going to do very well in the HSC, and they said, and Lisa, I knew it too, because on the flight going to Buzios, Lisa was studying as well. She was doing flashcard study, and I knew we're both doing business studies, and she knew every answer, and I didn't know a single one. So that's when I realized I was in trouble. But I actually sat down with my parents before the HSC, and they said, we think you're going well, you're working hard, and we spoke the tracks, and we think we'll back you to be professional sailor. So whatever you sort of need help wise, we'll give you a shot. But you only get one chance.
That was nice of them to actually recognise that you weren't going to finish your schooling.
I think it became pretty clear that I really loved the sport and I loved doing it. And my dad, he's a great racer, and he has had the opportunities to go overseas and compete before. And I think he just wanted me to experience that as well, and just to take the pressure off me a bit with the HSC coming up. So, that was really important for me. Like, having parent support for any youth sail out there is the biggest part. And when I mean support, I don't mean, having to necessarily be out there on the coach boat coaching your kid. I mean just, letting them have a good time around sailing club. Dad was always there helping me rig. School holidays, we're travelling with the boat on the trailer, driving up to Lake Macquarie for CHS or whatever it is. And that's really important. And you see all the great sailors have that.
Yeah, sure. So who are the yachties? Is it Rod and Sally? Or just...
well, Kerry, your mum sails as well, didn't she?
Yeah, like my...
your whole family?
Everyone sails in my family. My grandparents on both sides sailed. My mum and my dad are like big Hobie, diehard Hobie sailors. Mm-hmm. And we did a lot of cruising when I was younger. We did four, maybe a bit more years on a yacht, sailing around the world. So we've always been attached to the ocean. And Lisa's side, like, I'll let Lisa answer for herself, but her dad's like a foiling bloody windsurfer, like sending it, and all her brothers are really good sailors, and it's just part of our family.
I guess that's the awesome thing about sailing is, we grew up sailing with our siblings, and I grew up sailing against Jace, and, mum's out sailing the Hobies when she can, grew up sailing on Moss. Dad's tearing around at 60 on a foiling windsurfer, just loving it. And then everyone's down at the skiff club on a Saturday afternoon, just enjoying our sport. And I think that's what's so amazing about sailing, no matter what age you are or gender, like you're all just mixing and out there, enjoying the elements and just sending it. So it's too good.
It is. It's a cool sport, isn't it? It's a cool sport. Hey, like Jason's talking about you doing all this work when you went away to the 2016 Olympics, and he didn't know the answers. I wonder, just before the Olympics, you guys were obviously sailing together, and you were awarded Australian Female Sailor of the Year in 2015 from memory. And Jace, did you get a mention at all?
No, not at all. She said, "Yeah, I'm responsible for all this success. Sit down, be quiet, Jason. Eat your dinner." No, but did you win it twice, Lise?
I did win it twice, but I think I take all the credit because you'd miss every flight possible if it wasn't for me.
They got apps for that now.
Lisa definitely runs the campaign, our Olympic campaign. Like for those listeners who don't know, I'm pretty chilled, a bit of a Northern Beaches surfer, and pretty relaxed in general. And Lisa's very professional, diligent, so she runs the sort of campaign side of the whole Olympic side of it, really, to be honest. And then I'd sort of just blow in and out like a blowfly and just do all my sailing events for the GP or whatever, or the Nacra, and just ask her, where am I going next? All right, yeah, sweet, see you there.
Well, Bundy gave away last week that Lise put a tracker on your phone so she knew where you were.
Yeah, I mean, that was the first I've heard of it. I mean, God.
Well, that was the idea.
Tagged at a vet. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's actually a good idea.
It's a win-win, I think, because I don't have to try call Jason, who never answers his phone, to ask him where he is. So he wins because I'm not hassling him, and I know exactly where he is, so I don't have to worry. So, would suggest it to anyone out there struggling to organise the male species.
Probably to our wives, it doesn't work.
No, it does not work.
When you're with your mates, sometimes you just want to be with your mates. You just want a bit of peace. So actually, Lisa, on that sort of Australian female, you're talking about how much your family are into sailing. It must have been pretty cool when you came home and you said, "Look, basically, I am the best."
Yeah, it was quite funny because as a kid, I was not the talented sailor. So I have two brothers, older and younger, and they were, picked it up straight away, tactically clever, winning states and nationals and all that sort of stuff. And I was the kid at the back singing my way around the racetrack, asking the dolphins to come help me win the race, and was not the one destined to be the Olympic sailor. So when I came home with the silver medal and I sat down with my brothers, we just started laughing. We said, how am I the one that came home with this medal? And the reason I am that person is because I am so organised and I have such a good work ethic that hard work beats talent when talent's not willing to work. So, I got there in the end, but had a pretty fun childhood just singing my way around the racetrack.
I love it. I love it.
He's a special person talking to bloody animals, tell you what.
Could you get distracted on the Olympic course if, some
dolphin pops up
exactly.
No, not at all. I am so busy on the Nacra. I don't even know what we come unless we win, because my head's down just pulling ropes the whole time. And I asked Jace at the end of the race, I said, what happened that race? So
really?
No threat of getting distracted on the racetrack.
So how does that work on the boat with the split? Like, Jace, you're doing tactics, I take it, and Lisa's sort of doing control lines and trying to boat speed, or how does it work? How does the split work?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm just at the back of the boat and looking around, and we sort of, depending on your racetrack or what sort of day you've identified it as being, is then how you manage the roles on board. So Lisa really runs the boat upwind, and she does the numbers for the compass on the front, and then I'm looking around and she's just feeding me information, and then I make the decisions and just let her know what I need or what mode I'm looking for or whatnot. That's pretty simply that's it.
Are they easy boats to mode like the Nacras? Like, let's not talk about the Spanish boats, which have a few extra controls, but are they easy boats to mode?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many control systems. Well, there's not that many control systems compared to say 470, but they're all really critical. Like the Cunningham on the Nacra is worked almost as much as the main sheet. And then you also have the dagger boards. Where do you set your dagger boards for upwind or waves or whatnot? So moding them is quite hard, and keeping them, especially when it's bumpy, keeping the boat moving is quite tricky. So especially at the top level, I mean, you can get it around the track, no problem, but to be, the top couple in the world, those guys seem to have those little extra moding tools that the rest of the fleet don't.
And hey, that is one question I had. Obviously, in the lead up prior to the selection, you go on hammer and tongs against Nath. Mm-hmm. And of course, everyone's ability just keeps increasing. Now he's off the scene. Who's your training partner now?
So we work with the Kiwis a lot in the last quarter as well. Gemma Jones and Jason Saunders, they're our training partners for Rio. And then they stopped sailing together. So our training partners were the Kiwi team, but just different people like that. Now it's got a Micah Wilkinson who qualified, a very good Dawson. And that's how we sort of stay up to speed with the rest of the world. But now it's really tricky with this whole lockdown situation. Everyone's doing, bloody regattas in Denmark and Kiel and the Europeans, and we're stuck here by ourselves. So it's definitely not an advantage for us, but all we can do is focus on ourselves and try to tick the boxes.
And are the Olympics going to go ahead?
Yes.
We're training.
There's no other way to think about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's out of our control. So, I mean, we're just going to be as ready as possible. And, if they get the green light, great. If not, then couple of beers.
How's the with the Australian Olympic team? How's the communication? Is it like on a daily basis, weekly basis, keeping everyone up to date, keeping everyone motivated? Do they do a good job at that?
It's more intermittent than that, and it all depends on when their meetings are with the IOC. So if there's any big developments, we, get notified about it, and they have told us that it's not going to be a normal Olympics, so don't expect that. But they're planning on an Olympics without a vaccine, and they're putting all the protocols in place. But I think the next big meeting's in October, so hopefully we'll have some good news. But I guess the good news about sailing is not having a huge crowd of spectators screaming and cheering you on is not really going to change it for us. So I think that's going to be pretty hard for some other sports. But it's just us out there on the race course anyway.
Sure.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Like it is really, really... I mean, it must be hard for you guys. We're sympathetic, like we know that to stay motivated and positive and with all this crap and the fact that you are isolated, it's got to be a challenge. And the fact that Lisa can't meet a bloke, it's just it's a tough ask. What about your favourite boats you've ever sailed? What about like through your lifetime? Which boats sort of stand out that you've had the most fun on? I'll go with Lisa first, I think.
Oh, that's so tricky. I probably haven't had as much of a range or as many fun boats as Jason has, but for me, like I love the Nacra. I love going fast. I get quite terrified at times as well, but my favourite thing was after the Rio Olympics, I started sailing the 16-foot skiffs again, just at the local club, and just going back to that local club situation where I was sailing with my brothers and there's beer bets on every race, and it was just simple. And I think that those boats are just classics and easy to sail, and you're not afraid for your life. So for me, it was just the style of sailing, of club racing. I really enjoyed it. I love being competitive, but that vibe is just so lovely.
All right. Well, before we throw to Jace on the same question, then the question then becomes, what boat do you want to sail? What's a boat you're desperate to have a go on?
Look, I've been asking for a ride on the Ep67 for a while.
Yep.
And I did get to sit on the Japanese boat in Bermuda, but I was told to lie on the tramp face down, just don't fall off. But I'd really love to have a go in the supercharged F50s, and Even if they don't let me touch the ropes, at least look like I'm doing something.
That wasn't a setup, was it? You just lie on the tramp face down. That sounds like a setup. What about you, Jace?
Yeah.
Sorry, mate. I was just going to say, what stood out for you?
I mean, it wasn't the fastest boat, but I think sailing those AC45 before they foiled. I'm not sure if you guys remember before that the cut with the AC72s in San Fran. Like, I was really lucky to do the UFAC, and those boats, like, they weren't the fastest and the most not technological, but the racing itself was so cool. And to be young athletes and have that opportunity was really cool. But obviously the F50 sick, but I really would love to have sailed AC72. That for me is like, I still to this day watch that footage of them racing. And I'm just in awe of like just the power, like the power of them. And like if you put the foils on the the F50s onto those things now, that would be so sick. Yeah. So sick. And now obviously the new cut boats look really cool and that would have been really cool to be one of those sailors in the America's Cup developing the boat handling for that. I think would have been really interesting with the foil arm drop and I'm still really curious about how a lot of that stuff works. But it's cool. Our sport's so cool. It's the way it's going is so sick.
Mm. Absolutely. I mean, there's no limit of what boat you could choose. That's the great joy of our sport, and there's no limit on your age. You can keep doing it. I'm interested, neither of you thought about anything offshore. Have you ever thought about going offshore? Maybe a double-handed offshore boat for subsequent Olympics?
That was one of the things that we actually talked about. I got asked to do the Volvo with Axo Nobel, and that was actually probably for Lisa and I a bit of a turning point, whether for me to do that or kind of, but then, be 9 months behind in the Olympic campaign. So, that was an opportunity we decided, and it was a right decision to stay and work on our Olympic campaign. But that was an opportunity missed that I'd love to have again. But yeah, it's a cool part of our sport. And if Kyle can do it, I mean, anyone can do it, surely.
That's what we keep hearing.
And that's what he says also.
Yeah.
But I can confirm it was probably a good decision.
Yeah.
Depending at what time you were going to join that campaign.
I was wondering if it was on a Sunday or on a Sunday in September, I think it was. Was it September or October, boss?
Yeah.
One day.
Yeah. I mean, Chris Nichols, I was good friends with Simeon Team Point. He was part of Team Japan before that with the Japanese team, and he's a great bloke. And when he told me, come and have a think about it anyway, and I found out Chris Nicholson was on board and Martine Gray, I was like, oh, this is just the dream team. Like Nico's someone I always would love to have sailed with, just watching him as a young sailor on the skiffs and all his, obviously he got a lot of media coverage for not so good things with the Volvo, but I'd love to sail with him one day. And Lisa would love to go offshore. I know that for sure.
Yeah. How about the next edition of the ocean race though, in the IMOCA boats? That
sounds pretty good. That sounds like the offshore sailing that I'd like to do.
Yeah.
I haven't had a lot of sailing offshore, but I'm pretty good friends with Hannah Diamond.
Yep.
And she's sort of made me think a little bit more outside the box. But after talking to her, it sounds like just try skip the Southern Ocean leg and you'll be good for heaps.
Oh, dear. Well, the IMOCA, I'm going to see what are we, 72, 73 days away from the start of the Vendée. They do look amazing boats, like you guys have got all this mastery of foiling. So you are desirable athletes in that world, you're strong, you're fit. And if the round the world race goes ahead, where it's a fully crewed version of the IMOCA, then you're almost the perfect fit. Like the phone will ring hot.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, with the Volvo coming up, it's going to be a bit sad to at this point have one boat sailing around by itself. The 65s are a bit slower, but that race was unbelievable. Like just, especially being with Bundy and watching Caroline being so hooked.
Yeah.
And I remember we were in Kiel at a prize giving. I think we just got second to maybe Ica Martinez. And I remember...
Have you gone back to collect your gold medal then?
no, I mean... But I just remember at that prize giving, it was all happening, but every person was hooked to their phone watching the last 5 miles of that race. Like no one was listening. The Germans could have been talking about anything. Like honestly, it was just, So that was. I mean, I really want. I think that was really cool for our sport as well, having that close racing. So hopefully they can get a few more mockers to keep it interesting.
I think it's going to be really hard to repeat, to be honest.
It was
100%. Yeah, I guess so, but.
It was
unreal.
An absolute lesson in how to run an event, to make it interesting for the people. It's not about the speed, it's about the closeness of the racing. We, when we left Sweden, we went to the airport. Where were we going to? We were going to The Hague. When we left the airport, when we went to the airport, we had time for a beer, and you just look around. Every single person in the airport was on their phone looking at the race. It was incredible.
I think at one point in time, there was a stat like 1.2 million people were on the app at one time, any one time.
That's amazing.
Crazy.
And also the onboard reporting. I mean, that's also lifted it, like seeing the lives of the sailors, the conditions they're in, because they're in such remote places, to have a piece of that, displayed to the public. I think it makes a lot of sailors and youth sailors want to get involved.
Well, actually, they load technology onto your boats for the Olympics. So you'll have cameras on board and trackers. You've got the little SAP trackers on there. What's it like? Like, what do you have to do to change your boat? Does it affect your boat in any way, or the camera's so small now that it doesn't bug you?
Oh, you don't really know it's there. And everyone has dummy weights if they're not having the camera on board. But for the Olympics, it's always a little bit different, so we don't exactly know where they'll put them until a bit closer to the Olympics. But yeah, they don't really get in the way, and you just got to not really think about them because everyone's in the same situation.
Okay. Well, what about the gold medal race? How do you guys go into that mentally? Like we've talked to a few of the athletes and the way they've dealt with it. Lily, the Chinese sailor, she did all sorts of meditation. Annalise Murphy just had a beer. Like, how do you guys go into the stress if when you're fighting for medals and that last double points race?
I think we just had so much faith in ourselves that we were going to win the gold medal that it wasn't really an issue. I think we were quite disappointed. Our last fleet race was an absolute shocker and cost us a lot of points on the board. So we had a lot of work to do to get from first to fourth, from fourth to first, but it wasn't impossible. And I just remember just being so calm during that race because, we'd done it so many times. We just had to hope that everything fell our way and do the right thing. And I just remember being so calm, and we were going down the last run and we were going to be in silver position and the Austrians were behind us and they jibed out. And downwind, I don't really have a lot of time to talk to Jace. And I just said halfway down the run, I was like, hey, we got to beat those blokes, right? He's like, yeah, I know. And I'm like, okay, he's got this covered, and he did a good job of it. And it was just, I think that level of calm is really what you need when the pressure's on.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Actually, Jace might have a different story.
Do you have a different story, Jace?
No, it was pretty chilled. Like Lisa said, it was probably more the day before is where the nerves set in a bit, which probably was what led to the bad results on that day. But after sort of just coming in and then sort of calibrating that night, like they're saying, I don't think I'd ever thought. Our coach, Landy, actually said to us, like, you make sure you win a medal here. Like, I know you want to go high risk and go for the gold, but make sure you come home with something. And that kind of just went through one ear and out the other. I didn't really, at no point did I think, we didn't have a chance to win this gold medal. And I remember we started on starboard and we got a penalty on the Brits and Santi off the line. And I thought, okay, well, that's a good start. And then we tacked and anyway, long story short, it was just natural sailing, which is kind of what you want it to be. And I think that's where athletes will develop and get better through psychology, not necessarily through training skills, and that's why Santi won the gold medal. I mean, he never won a regatta in the 4 years prior. Because he's done so many Olympic games and so experienced, he just knew how the environment was going to be or how the pressures were going to be, and that's how he won the gold medal. I'm convinced anyway.
It was a big point that Lily made a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it? How she managed that and how the psychology played a huge part in her gold medal as well. So it's true.
Oh, it's a tough sport. I want to sort of look at something as an idea with the banter thing that Bicey's got. In Formula One and MotoGP, you know, they spend plenty of time painting up their helmets. And I remember in Aarhus, I can't remember, but somebody got to Nath's helmet and put all sorts of love hearts or something all over it. I can't remember. But do you guys ever thought about using your helmets as like a bit of a message to your opposition? You could put a few things on there just to put them off. Have you thought about things like that?
How about a big like bar karate sticker on the side?
Oh,
it's in the merchandise pack.
Yeah.
Excellent.
It's on its way. No, unfortunately, like a lot of people had cool designs all over their helmets, and then they brought a rule out saying that it's got to be 70% yellow or a high vis or some crap. Yeah,
I'm ringing them,
which is annoying. Yeah, can you have a word? Just worldsailing.org.uk, whatever it is. Just send them an email.
Dear Kim.
Yeah.
Just while no, we won't say anything. We'll
Not sure you've got much on at the
minute. Exactly. No, that's a disgrace. That's a disgrace. Like if I had my way, we'd each have like a little neon board on our booms just hanging where you could send messages to the other boats, you know, like
someone's going the wrong way.
Oh, dear.
How about like you just got rolled on the back of your helmet?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, Caroline will
Good
take
one for
that.
Caroline. Yeah.
That's it. Oh, dear. All right. Well, we're getting close to our hour. We've got a few more questions to go in. Any of you guys want to hit up with anything before we sort of run out of time?
I think this has been a pretty good wrap, good banter too, and you've just got to keep it. And we're going to monitor the banter from now on in even more and more closely.
Actually,
and Lisa, I expect you, our chat here, I expect you to lead the charge with this.
Exactly.
Are you up for the challenge?
I am always up for the challenge.
Okay, well, here's one for you. Because, you know, apart from all the other stuff, are you still with SailGP, actually still doing some of the coverage on that?
Well, it's not much to show at the moment.
No, but when it comes back on, is the contract still there, or is that you've got to renegotiate?
As far as I'm aware, I'm still contracted to bring you the fastest action. But we'll just have to wait and see.
Well, the challenge is to see how many times you can say the word banter in each episode.
No. What I was thinking, BP, is that as a lead up to each event for the both of you, we'll actually we'll get the listeners to write in keywords that needs to be incorporated. We do that every commentary gig. Every commentary gig, there's keywords have got to be thrown in. That's just part of the rules of the game. You know, that's you can't make it too easy for yourselves.
That sounds like a bit of fun.
Yeah.
I was thinking if I can't get the bug in the container, I should just get it on Langers.
Yeah, exactly.
And it'll just follow him around, and that would just be gold.
It would be.
Absolutely. And that's what actually I was going to ask you, Jace. This is a pretty good opportunity to throw Langers right under the bus right now.
Mm-hmm.
Back to the Volvo story. Like, even he got a roll, you said. Is there anything that he told you throughout that time that you've got tucked away somewhere that you could bring up on the airwaves?
No, that's not much to think about that he said. You know, he does give Kinley, he tells me a lot about Kinley Fowler while Kinley's not listening, how he's a really good lured runner trimmer. And that he needs to ask Slingers if that can be a role on his next project, if he can trim the lured runners. Yeah, no, the old Langers. He's in Sweden right now, and he's probably just sipping lattes and not got a whole lot going on. So I think we do need to get the banter up and going. I think bugging the team is a good idea because there'd be a lot of funny things that come out of there. But yeah.
you know, like they got the stump cam in cricket. You could do Langer cam, you know, where you just
They do it in the NFL on the sidelines. They mic up people, and it's the funniest thing to watch. So the only problem will be is if he's next to Philippe Presti, Bussy, our coach, you won't understand a thing because he speaks Fringlish. So but let's make that happen. It's a good idea.
Yep. Here.
All right. We might let you guys go in peace. We do appreciate you taking the time. It's been fun. Lisa, we will go through the list offline, just so you can know. We've got lots of photos. Some of them are unsafe for publication. But yeah, no, it's been good. It's been good. We enjoy the banter. Hopefully you guys will come back on. We'd like to actually try and get you guys back on.
Yeah, Lisa can bring her husband.
2 merchandise packs.
Oh, God.
Not in the budget.
No budget. All right.
It'll be some bloody Saudi prince or something.
We know a few of those. All right. Let's leave it there, team.
Cool.
Thanks,
you.
Lisa.
Guys.
Thanks, Jace.
Thanks a lot.
I reckon Australian sailing or the Olympic team's in pretty good shape when you've got individuals like that.
Yeah, that is cool.
Part of it. Yeah.
To see the human side of them, you know, like it is cool. It is cool. They're good. They're both good fun, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. And they must have some fun on tour as well.
Yeah.
In the sense of, like, obviously, yes, cousins, but great mates as well.
Yeah.
And exceptional yachties.
I'd love to see the organisation of it all. I just, you know, how Lisa would say, you got to be on the plane at this time. You've got to be here, you've got to be there, and old mate's just thinking about surfing. And it works.
Back in the day, I was did a bit of sailing with Ian Percy on the TP.
Yep.
And hopeless.
Yeah,
Same
right.
deal. Like, he'd forget his suit everywhere he went. So just buy a new one everywhere he went. Now left, like, just the logistics side. So needed someone to run the logistics and tell him where to go. And that's what you need. So, and it works. That's what you need.
That's cool.
Absolutely. I 100% agree.
Oh, well, thanks to Lisa and Jace for coming on the show, and for those offshore cat sailors. I hope you've enjoyed the last couple of weeks. It really was. And if you're into the sport and want to do some cat sailing, and, well, there's plenty of pathways there, and you can see the people involved in the sport are pretty cool as well. Speaking of getting into the sport cheaply, home builds. We had Moose on the show not too long ago. Mike Sanderson, who is the CEO of Door Sales, he's doing a home build with his kids.
With the cherub.
With a cherub.
Cherub. I've been watching it, and the progression and the work that they've done, and exciting.
It is, isn't it?
Exciting, boys.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
And plenty of comments from around the globe supporting the project. Even our good mate Adrian Finglas came in there and given his knowledge of that, and his big point when we spoke to him was that stepping stone boat.
Yep.
And you know what? This is it.
Yep.
The cherub. Well, the Des Moines Sailing Club's bigger. I think I've mentioned it before. They build their own cherubs, and they've currently got the Australian champion there. And I think he's building a new boat now, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's cool.
They're
builds.
always parked out there in the car park, fiddling away and just, you know, putting new bits and pieces on. It's really cool.
Well, those Bossy was just saying before we came to air, of course, the Don McIntyre, his 580 design, the plywood boat you got to build. How many plans did you say had gone out?
So I think almost close to 100 plans have gone out.
Yeah.
Just retire on that alone.
Yeah. So home build.
Not at $36.
No.
Yeah.
That's bar karate budgeting.
That's bar karate budget.
Speaking of boats, BP, you're going gangbusters with your X2, mate. Congratulations. Like the response seems to be overwhelming. My phone rings.
Yeah, it's been great. And Moose even came up online actually and said that the X2 is nearly as good as his Cherub.
Well, I've got some. Oh, go on. Were you going to say
To
something?
be honest, yes, it has, and officially it's on the record. We have got a contract in hand, and we are moving forward. The second one very soon to come. Hopefully by next week's show, we might have some good news there. So for all those interested, the X2 is up and running and is a real project, and we're pretty excited about it, to be honest.
I must admit, BP, I think Bosie and I both had a few phone calls asking about pricing and all sorts of stuff. I would have taken half a dozen calls on your boat. So good on you.
Yeah. Well done, mate.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But you've got some competition. I do have to mention, like one of the people, we got a bloke called Nick L. I think that's how you pronounce it, E-double-L. He's from Argentina. He is probably our most enthusiastic fan out of Argentina, supporter.
Definitely one.
Yeah. So, Nick, thanks, mate. We love you. He keeps sending us links to really cool boats, and he just sent us a link to the new BZ33. So it's in the same sort of category as your boat. It's a pretty cool-looking boat. Did you guys have a look at that link?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had a little look.
One's in the water. So good work there, Nick. For that team, I think, I don't even know how to pronounce it. It's Bilog Zerbo is the company. He's always sending us links of cool little boats. So I just thought I'd mention, Nick, we're looking and we love what you're showing us, mate. So just keep doing it. And good on the Argies for having a red hot go. There's a lot. It looks like they have a lot of fun down there. Lots of cool sort of boats as well. So I just wanted to bring that up.
And we're brought up.
Yep, cool. Let's talk about a few things that are cancelled. Sharpie Nationals, cancelled. Now,
Cancelled.
one of you made the allegation that they're always going to be cancelled because they've scheduled them in Canberra, but that is not true. Canberra's a great place to go.
Well, the sounds of it, from everyone I had spoken to, the excitement to go to Canberra was high.
It's a good spot.
It wasn't going to be a traditional Sharpie Nationals of the long courses.
No.
Because just due to where you were. It was going to be a lot of races later in the day and a different style of sailing.
That works.
So, right, absolutely. So it's, a bit of a blow. Admittedly, I'm yet to get out on the Sharpie with the big campaign that was on the cards with my mate Snowdy.
Yeah.
But, bit of a blow.
For those overseas listeners who've never been to Canberra, it's the capital of Australia. So it's inland. It's inland by hundreds of kilometres. So it's a man-made lake that they sail on, and it's very shifty, mountains around it, generally very light winds, and there's another island. There's an island in the middle pretty much. It's very hard to fit a course on. So it's very, very shifty, very technical, very it's easy to go up and down the ladder rungs in Canberra is the best way to say it. So it would have been interesting. The Maxi World Cup and the Swan Cup have been cancelled. Yes. We said they were
dropping
on.
like flies, aren't they?
They are dropping.
There's more to come.
A big hit to our pro yachty mates, which isn't good at all.
Yeah.
And going to have to diversify, I guess, in some areas. There's probably plenty of bit of building going on, all sorts going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, not to mention, to mention on that and diversifying, our good mate Phil Harmer, fan of the show, had him on. He has set up his new business, Canvas.
I did see that.
And he's also got the agency for Salmon, which is
correct.
We get on great with the guys from Salmon. They listen to the show. They're actually quite religious listeners to the show. So, so good luck, Phil, with that. All the pros out there, we're thinking of you. I mean, all of us have lost our jobs. So, everyone's struggling out there, but the pros are just, you think you've got a ride and then it all goes away. So, but even worse, from our perspective, Mets has been cancelled. Holy dooly. What do you do at November now?
Well, I tell you what, they're still talking about that big night myself and Herbert from Southern Spas had back in 2016. And and everyone in the industry is expecting some sort of something similar to happen come November every single year.
Well,
but for Mets to be cancelled, and especially after a successful Mets last year with winning the Dame Award with USAFE, that's a big hole in the calendar.
Yeah,
that's a big hole.
I think it's going to be a big one next year if it goes ahead. Then there'll be 2 years of build up.
I mean, it's just standard. It's standard fare to be freezing cold in Amsterdam in November. You know, that's just how we live our lives, but not anymore. So, yeah, that's amazing. So many industries will be affected. If any of you are running businesses out there in the industry, you know, probably would have been at Mets, reach out to us at Cheers at Barker 80 and just tell us how it's going to affect you and stuff like that. We don't have to put it online, but we just, you know, for a discussion point. So, yeah. The other one for Bicey that be worried about, Schoolies has been cancelled.
Yeah, I was going to bring it up. Probably the biggest of the lot.
So that means I can visit in November.
That's it.
Queensland, and don't have to worry about my what do they call it, AVO?
Yeah,
the restraining orders.
For our international guests, Schoolies Week is a celebration of the school leavers, and it takes part. It happens every year up on the Gold Coast, which is not far from where Jordan lives, and it is quite a large week of celebration. It does make front headline news usually every year. Yep.
But there's certainly one thing that doesn't happen during Schoolies Week, and obviously for why it's been cancelled, and that's social distancing.
Yeah.
No, there's definitely no social distancing at Schoolies Week whatsoever.
One event that is going on, supposedly it's the Middle Sea Race, so that's supposedly still going on. I think they moved the start date a little bit, but they've got about 60 or 70 entries, so that is still going to happen. I'm not sure if it will, but they start out of Malta from memory. So
the letter.
So we'll see what happens there. BP, the harbour, you were saying just before we came on air, Sydney Harbour has been split. How does that work? What's going on?
I'm in West Harbour. You've got North Harbour, South Harbour, and East Harbour. I am in the Drummoyne Sailing Club Harbour. So effectively, I'm not allowed to sail anywhere else on the harbour. Apparently.
So you can't go across to
Mate, you can go to the bridge or what?
No, there's a big pink rubber line that across the harbour at each direction. You're not allowed to go past that.
That's crazy.
Wow.
It lacks logic is the word. I guess I'm not going to say too much on it, but it's a interesting decision made to try and keep up, I guess, with what they've pulled into place here with interzone sports, which are actually pretty well all cancelled. So people from, school sporting and events and club events on land have effectively now got zones that they're only allowed to play in. They're just trying to keep it, these little mini outbreaks to a minimum. But the funny part is that they've done it on the harbour. It's
that's weird, man.
There's just no way of governing it.
That's weird. That's just weird.
One of the big things is that an owner of a boat, for instance, in my boat in particular, lives over next to the CYC and he keeps his boat at the squadron. So effectively, that's
he's stuffed.
That's how it rolls. But I think it's a recommendation, and I think that it's just a matter of making sure that people understand that we all need to try.
Yeah. No.
Fair enough.
Correct.
Well,
correct.
On that then, do you reckon one event that we've been behind a bit is the Sydney to Auckland to lead across to the start of the America's Cup? Our mate Craig Evans, I wonder what's going to happen with that. Like, we're worried about the Hobart, but I'm intrigued just as much about what's going to happen with the Sydney to Auckland event. I'm worried. I'm worried. It's a good...
Where it is, the super yachts, of course, not as many are still on their way to Auckland. So there's obviously something opened up there. But as we've seen, it can just change at the drop of a hat. So to actually have anything planned right now, you kind of, I guess you got to assume you're going to keep on going until it actually gets shut for you.
Yeah,
I think that's the attitude that's been taken by a lot of clubs. You look at Airlie Beach, was always on Airlie Beach Regatta. I did have a chat to Craig during the week about another subject, but he's obviously still hoping that it can go ahead. But it's getting to a point now, though, with all these events, same with the Hobart, that it's not whether or not the event goes ahead; it's the actual preparation of the teams. you're not just sailing
Exactly.
up and down the coast. You're sailing in the Sydney to Auckland, for example. There's 1,100 miles, whatever it is, 1,200 miles. The Hobart is notoriously the Hobart. I mean, you don't just go on December the 1st. It's going ahead. Oh, okay. Do you want to do the Hobart, mate? Yeah, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work like that.
No, yeah, exactly.
So the practicality now is that the people sailing, people in the events, they know that there's so much preparation that's got to go into it, and that's now the decisions being made for them, whether or not the government are saying yes or no.
Yep.
Well, the good news. Let's finish on a good thing. We are actually recording. What day is it? Friday. We're recording Friday. When we will publish this Sunday night Australian time. So that'll be the 30th of August. That is the start date for the Solitaire de Figueroa, which is definitely going ahead. That's definitely starting. 4 stages in and around sort of the west coast of France, over towards Fastnet and around. Do you want me to break it down? But basically, it's going ahead. First leg, which is. Do you guys want to read it out? The French bit. No. No.
Negative. No, but what we'll do,
good at it.
We'll give it a pretty good rundown. Obviously, next week when we start getting some results coming in, seeing who's hot, see if our mate Jack who's waving the Aussie French flag, is at the pointy end. So.
I had a chat to Sam Goodchild the other day too. He's very relaxed. So cheerio goes out to him, and good luck to him. He was on the show a couple of weeks ago. No doubt it's going to be good to get some feedback from them after the race, after the legs. But he seems relaxed and excited, so that's good.
Cool.
All right. Well, so the first leg is Saint-Brieuc to Saint-Brieuc. Obviously, basically starting in France and heading up and around Fastnet Rock and straight back.
You're ordering some scallops.
642 nautical miles. The next leg goes on. So leg 2 goes on the 6th of September. Leg 3 goes on the 12th of September, and then leg 4 goes on the 18th. So basically, we've got non-stop racing coming ahead where we can focus in on it. 642 miles. It's starting Sunday in France. So basically, when this goes to air, you've got it. So, should be good.
Good.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I think it's, and especially having a couple of people in there that we know is going to be cool.
Indeed. All right, lads, I reckon that's us done. So, but tune in. At least we've got some racing to watch. We're excited.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
Well done, man. Been a good
one.
week, and look forward to chatting again soon.
Always do.
In front of the crest, come smile on me. And I'm looking behind, don't look behind.
I'm looking behind, don't look behind. What's that, BP? I'm doing this on purpose, listeners.